Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Knights of the Dawn podcast. I'm Jessica,
And I'm Megan.
and we are here to do chapters 13 through 15 of Beyonders Book 1, A World Without Heroes. This is going to be the Trenzacourt arc. It's a really fun one.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of fun to call it an arc, you know? This one
It's
is
really
very
what it feels like.
definite arc. Yeah.
It's like almost this entire book can be sectioned off into, I would say, maybe 7 different arcs. One for each part of the word.
Each syllable, yeah.
So this one, we start out with Farron teaching Jason and Rachel some stuff about the world of Lyrian, how to survive when you are perhaps living on the fringes of civilization and the law.
Yeah. How to live off the land. How to spot bubble fruit trees, which you can eat the bubble fruit, and Oaklander trees, is that what they're called?
Yeah, Oaklander.
Yeah.
One of which is much more helpful than the others. Bubble fruit, easy to get, edible, great. Maybe not like delicacies, but nice. Oaklander, though, apparently has some fruit towards the center, but they are guarded by venomous thorns and colonies of aggressive wasps.
Yeah. Only do it if you're desperate, I suppose.
I also find them interesting because they're described as mountainous bushes. And I feel like usually, like, once, like, you have, like, a significantly large shrubbery, you call it a tree. But no, this is distinctly called a bush that is over 100 feet tall and nearly twice as wide.
That is crazy. I didn't really pay attention to how big it was.
Yeah, I didn't either. It was just on this read through. I was just like, dang. That's a big bush.
100 feet tall?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird that it's classified as a bush.
I
Any
guess, like,
botanists know the difference? I don't know.
I would assume the difference between a tree and a bush is, like, a bush has, like, branches stemming from everywhere on the stem, whereas a tree, they start higher up. Like, there is a defined
probably.
trunk. Like, a
100
bush
feet
is just, like, an entire sphere of branches, whereas a tree is almost, like, more like a broccoli. It's got a defined trunk. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess he says the biggest Oaklanders. So that's like the biggest ones.
Yeah, that's true.
But still, that's insane.
All right.
Alright, so.
Oh, apparently their
said-
rabbits are also big.
Oh.
Yeah, they were shooting, like, they're using rabbits, crossbows to shoot rabbits, and they were Jason said that they were bigger than any he had ever seen. So,
Yeah.
everything's bigger in Lyran, I guess.
Is that like a quote for, like, everything's bigger in Texas, I guess? That's the only thing I think of. Okay. So, after Farron teaches them to live off the land like Bear Grylls, they're talking about Trenzacourt, and Farron says that he cannot go with them into Trenzacourt because sometime in his past he was sentenced to death there, sentenced to death, but
You know,
was
it's
able
trivial
to
things like that.
escape, and people don't like, what's he called?
Displacer.
Displacer. My brain's not working right now. Displacer.
Don't worry, I can lend you a
he's
hand.
like, yeah, there you go.
Sorry,
I'll be number one.
I couldn't help it. It was so easy.
Or I just lost my head, you know. That works too. Tally number 2. So yeah, basically, he would be executed, but for real this time, killed as a displacer if he went back to Trenzacourt. So he's like, I will wait for you outside of Trenzacourt, basically.
And he even says, like, they even ask, like, how long will you wait? And he says,
Yeah.
until the sea dries into a desert. And I'm like, that seems a little excessive.
Farron and his sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
One of his best traits.
But then here's a lovely little tidbit. He says, okay, how about a fortnight? And Jason's like, a what?
Doesn't know what a fortnight is.
I mean, really, how many people do at this?
Cue
In
the
this
Taylor Swift
century.
song. Anyway.
But did you know that it was 2 weeks?
Yes. I think I knew what a fortnight was before I first read this book.
I don't know if I did, honestly. Why is it even called a fortnight? Like, what is the etymology of
Google
this
it.
word?
Fortnite. Why is it a fortnight? Period of 2 weeks. Contraction of Middle English 14 night. From Old English, like 14 nights. Fortnight. Just kind of got squished into fortnight.
Okay, I like that.
14 for, yeah. 2 weeks, 14 days. Or 14 nights, specifically. That's actually pretty logical.
I actually, like, I was expecting it to be, like, a fourth night and, like, something happened there, or, like, forts had shifts of 2 weeks. Or, like,
Yeah,
something like
there you
that. I like 14 nights. It was just
14 nights.
cut down.
So yeah, he's gonna wait for them for a fortnight in an inn called the Stumbling Stag, which is such a great, like, name. Stumbling Stag, Prancing Pony. I feel like every inn needs, like, a alliteration name.
Well, I also just feel like Stumbling Stag, I feel like, is especially appropriate for a location that probably sells alcohol.
Yeah. Listen. So yeah, and so Jason, well, Farron is, hasn't asked many questions, but he's like, so, what are you doing in Trensicourt, by the way? And Jason explains that they're looking for a man named Nicholas, who once worked closely with Galaran, but they shouldn't say anything else. And Farron is like, okay, keep your secrets, but he's like, oh, do you mean the old Nicholas Dangler, the weapons master? And they're just like, oh, we might. Did he know Galaran? And Farron's like, you guys need to stop saying the name Galaran out in the
They're
open,
like,
too
guys,
much.
calm it down.
Because if we remember, Galaran is the prince of Trensicourt and heir to the throne. So his name is very well known, obviously, in the kingdom, and he was very well loved by the people and very hated by his enemies. So mentioning his name within the bounds of Trensicourt can be very dicey.
Mm-hmm. Like, even, like, especially says, like, the populace absolutely adores him. There was no one ever more popular. Like, his disappearance has just turned him into, like, this mythical figure that they absolutely adore.
Yeah.
But the aristocracy, they hate him. They do everything they can to undermine his memory, but in, like, subtle ways to not incite a revolt. And they have been ruining his staunchest supporters, is what he says. And so, hey, that's how we got somebody named Nicholas Danger living in the slums of Trensicourt when he was a close friend of Galaran.
Honestly, reading through these chapters, Galaran really gives, like, Aragorn from Lord of the Rings vibes. And
He
that
is. Yeah.
he's, like, heir to the throne. I mean, in Lord of the Rings, I don't know his name, but, like, the heir of Isildur's heir come back to claim his throne from the regent,
Mm-hmm. And similarly to Lord of the Rings, the regent is an absolute douche.
Yeah.
And a tool.
Also, Brandon's just a big Lord of the Rings fan. I think in his, like, author biography, it used to say he's sad he has but one life to give for Gondor or something. So I feel like he definitely took inspiration from Aragorn when writing Galaran. And I'm really getting the vibes in this read through of it.
Mm-hmm. And that is definitely not a bad thing.
Oh, Aragorn's the best. I have no complaints. Lord of the Rings is my favorite movie trilogy, so.
Yeah. He's like, no, this is what it is. It's like if Aragorn had aged normally instead of having his weird, like, slow aging, where, like, Galaran was the opposite. He looks older than he actually is, whereas Aragorn looks younger than he actually is.
It's true. They're both master swordsmen.
Mm-hmm.
They're both, I don't know.
Yeah. Galaran's like a cross between Aragorn and Dumbledore, or I guess we want to keep it in the same universe, like, oh, gosh. Yes, but I'm trying to keep it in the same universe, which is Gandalf. There we go. Well, like, I just mean, like, age-wise and experience-wise.
Oh, okay. I was like, how is he like Dumbledore? I get it now. That's fair. Okay, anyway, moving on. Basically, he's like, be careful what you say and who you talk to. Just go talk to this Nicholas guy that you want to, and be careful.
I love this little exchange where he's like, Farron says, we'll meet you at the Stumbling Stag, and Jason says, if we don't get decapitated.
It's not a problem for you, Farron.
Good times. I especially because, like, Farron even does say, like, yeah, it wasn't that they just were trying to execute me. I was executed. Like, the head was cut off for multiple days.
Yeah.
Until somebody could sneak my head back to my body. I was like,
and the person who snuck his head back got killed, so...
No love for the displacers, it would seem.
Yes.
Alright.
So, they split off the next day and head into the city, and they end up in a neighborhood called the... Oh my gosh.
Fleabed.
The Fleabed, thank you. See, I read these chapters like 2 hours ago, and I like can't remember things. I don't know why.
Yeah,
okay, they end up in yeah. So they end up in a neighborhood called the Fleabed, which is obviously sounds like the poorer section of the city. And Jason pays a little kid to show them to the door of Nicholas Dangler. And they knock on the door, and the girl that opens the door is like, what do you want? You know, and they're like, oh, we're here to see Nicholas. And she's like, no one gets to see Nicholas. If you have business, you can talk to me and we can set up an appointment. But she's very, standoffish and, like, doesn't want anything to do with them, really. And kind of closes the door on them, and then Jason's like, well, I guess we just have to knock again.
Well, even more than that, Jason throws out the name Galaran real quick. And they're just like, okay, yeah, keep messing around, keep fooling around with us, whatever.
Like, oh, yeah, you're, like, the 10th person this week to play that joke on us and come try and say that you work with Galaran or whatever.
Like, yeah,
and so
the kid that they had guide there was like, oh, you got dared to knock on his door or something? It's a normal occurrence.
Yeah. So the second time, Jason knocks, no answer, and he starts banging on the door until... the door opens again, and the same lady that opened it first time has a sword, and there's another lady with a crossbow, to deter them from bothering them. But Jason is able to convince them that they're actually here to see Nicholas, and they're for real, because he has the Caberton signet ring, and shows them, and that's, like, enough to convince them to, like, let them in the door, basically. And so Nicholas agrees to see them.
And the two women who at first were confronting were Kayla and... Ooh, where'd it go? I just saw her name. Minna. A mother and daughter. And they apologize, but at the same time, they're like, we have to be careful. There are numerous attempts to harm and disgrace Nicholas. They make appointments. They usually find kids running away from the door. They gotta be careful. And Jason's like, we understand, but, like, it's kind of important.
Yeah. It's like, we have to talk to Nicholas. He is our only lead.
So they come in, and we suddenly understand why he is called Nicholas Dangler.
Yeah. He's literally dangling in a harness from the ceiling because he has no legs, and that is how he gets around his house, basically.
Mm-hmm. We learn later that after he lost his title, he was attacked and lost his legs, which definitely sucks. But we really just see the consequences of people being supporters of Galaran in this climate, in this post-rebellion era.
Yeah. And we also get to see his ingenuity, because Nicholas and his family are well known for their inventions and creations and weapons. And so the fact that he's been able to, like, create this, complicated track in his house that he's able to be mobile, run his own home, and like move around and stuff. It's very impressive.
He even baits them into like saying, "Hey, if you guys are assassins, this is no more opportune moment." And they're like, "We're not here to kill you." He's like, "Good, because if you tried, you'd be shot full of 20 arrows right now." And there's like,
Yeah.
"Where?" And he's like, "Oh, they're concealed. Don't worry, they're there."
Yeah, he just has to pull a lever, pull a strap, and sets off the booby traps.
Hopefully he doesn't pull the wrong lever.
Wrong lever. Yeah, the second I said lever, I was like, Emperor's New Groove.
Why do we even have that lever? So Jason ends up getting right into it, though. He's like, "Okay, what do you know about the word? We're Beyonders. We're told that you can help us." And Nicholas is like, "Okay, what?"
Yeah, he's like, wait, you know about the word? That really shocks him.
Mm-hmm.
And when they first entered the room, Jason was like, this guy looks a little familiar, but couldn't quite figure out why. And Rachel brings up, she's like, oh, you look like one of Galaran's men named Bryn the Gamester, who we met way back when we were with Galaran. And Nicholas is like, well, if you mean Bryn of Rosebury, you'd better be telling the truth, because that's my youngest brother he thought was dead, basically. And Nicholas is very skeptical of them, and he's like, do you have any proof that Galaran is alive, or that you come from Galaran, or like this isn't all like a big joke or a trick or anything? And Jason showed him the ring, and he's like, oh yeah, the ring is real, but you could have gotten that anywhere. And then he shows the poniard, and Nicholas is like, yes, this looks authentic. It could be the work of Bryn. And then Rachel pulls out the Orantium Sphere, and that really does the trick. Nicholas is like, okay, no one else has Orantium. That's pretty convincing, actually.
Mm-hmm. And so he's like, okay, so let's talk business then. You guys are Beyonders? And Jason's like, yep, fresh out of Earth. We've been here for about 2 weeks.
A fortnight.
Alright, so they mentioned that they know 2 of the 6 syllables, and Nicholas is like, okay, time to share my life story.
Yeah.
So he was originally Nicholas of Rosebury, and with his forefathers, he served as the chief engineer for the Kingdom of Trensicourt. He now lives in the poorest district of a city his ancestors designed and constructed, which sucks.
Yeah. That's sad.
And in this, like, bit of dialogue, we kind of get a feeling for Nicholas's mindset and his position right now, because he has been just living in Trensicourt, ostracized and outcast from the noble society for, feels like, honestly, like decades at this point. He, in an attempt to continue Galaran's quest, he even challenged the Chancellor for the office and lost, and in doing so lost his earldom and was forced to live in this slum. He's like, I get by, but like every other good person in this city has either been murdered, exiled, or has betrayed their honor and turned to the current ruling class simply for security. And he is just very disillusioned with life at this point. Like, yeah. Afterwards, like, once he hears that Galaran and Bryn are both alive, he's like, why have they neglected me? I am one of the few who has remained faithful. If they live, how could they let us mourn them? We have lost so much.
Yeah. It's really sad. I like the bit right after that where Jason is kind of reflecting to himself, and it says, Jason felt torn. He would have expected Nicholas to react with joy at hearing that Bryn and Galaran were alive. In Lyrian, people's perspective sometimes seemed stuck on the negative. So many of those he had met seemed broken and hopeless. I really like this kind of like observation from Jason, because it's like something that he continues to like see throughout, you know, and it stays on the theme of the exact title of the book, A World Without Heroes, and that it's a world that's been broken down, like everyone has been broken down so much with fear and anxiety and frustration and stuff, that it's hard to see good in even like good news, that they just see like the worst of it, which I think is interesting.
Can I make an obligatory Iroh quote?
Yes. Of course.
If you look for the light, you may often find it, but when you look for the dark, it is all you will ever see. Like, I think for Nicholas and a lot of people in this world, they're so accustomed to seeing the darkness that even when light is presented to them, they just can't see it.
Yeah. Which is why Rachel and Jason are necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But like you were saying, that the Nicholas talks about how everyone in Transicourt has either, you know, been exiled, shamed, killed, or sworn loyalty to basically to Maldor and to Felrook, either outright or in private. And the regent and chancellor who ruled Transicourt in the absence of the royal family both have ties to Maldor, especially Capernaum, who's the chancellor. Basically, Transicourt is in the pocket of Maldor, and the ruling class are all like connected to him in some way. So,
which is really unfortunate because, as Nicholas mentions later, besides the Seven Veils of the Amar Kapal, Transicourt is probably the most well-defended and most capable of resisting Maldor. So the fact that once Maldor decides to truly, like, there's a word I'm looking for. Not subvert. Subjugate? Subjugate. Once he decides to subjugate Transicourt, they will go without any inch of resistance, and that will leave only the Amar Cabal free. And they're just like, yeah, it kind of sucks, but and in Nicholas's defense, he did everything he could.
Yeah. Him and his family. He says he lost two of his other brothers, and his sons,
and nephews.
Like, his nephews. Like, literally the only people he has left are his sister-in-law and, like, her daughters, basically, that live with him. And now he knows Bryn. But, like, everyone else is dead.
Yeah. He mentions that Galaran, before he left, confided some secrets about the word to him. That the third syllable is here in Transicourt, inscribed in the royal lore vault, which only the Chancellor and the Regent have access to, above the entrance to the vault itself. And he knows about another syllable that lies in the center of White Lake. And then he also knew about the repository of learning. And he tried to act on that information. He challenged, like I mentioned before, he challenged Capernaum, the Chancellor, to a battle of wits, but when he lost, and was then therefore maimed, he lost any chance of possibly adventuring to find the rest of the word. His brother went to find the word, and his nephews and sons tried to mount a revolt. As far as he knows, he's been the only male survivor of his family for years at this point.
Yeah. Going back to Transicourt being powerful, I think the way that Maldor has, like, put his influences into Transicourt just shows, like, his cunningness, like, his cunning, because he knew that Transicourt, like how Nicholas said that Transicourt is, like, probably the most powerful human kingdom in Lyrian. Maldor obviously knew that, and so he knew that he wouldn't be able to take it by force, and he had to take it by intrigue and spying and taking over the court rather than taking over it physically, which I think is really interesting.
One could perhaps say by displacing the most loyal.
Nicholas also explains that the only reason he's really alive is that he has gained basically blackmail, secrets of his enemies, who he's made sure that his enemies know that he has, like, secrets about them, so if they were to move against him, he would let the secrets be known. So he's basically, like, blackmailed his way into not being killed.
He's got a dead man switch, basically.
Yeah. And then he, pretends to be more, like, humbled and lowly than he maybe actually is just to kind of protect himself.
But at the
But he
same
still
time,
has to.
he even yeah. Sorry, go for it.
Oh, you're good. You can go.
Well, it was just saying, like, the ruling class, the nobility, they believe I have learned my place, and perhaps I have. Like, yes, some
Yeah.
of it is him faking his subservience, but at the same time, part of him is just like, at this point, like, it could be worse. Like, I have my nieces and my sister-in-law. We survive. We have a large and secure residence. And he even says, once Galaran failed, the rest of us should have quit. He was our best hope. Strong, smart, brave, inspiring, incorruptible, a peerless swordsman. How could others succeed where he had failed? Honestly, when I weigh all I lost and how little was gained by that loss, if I could return to the days after Galaran fell, I would pretend to side with Dolan, the regent.
Yeah, that's pretty bleak.
Yeah. But at the same
I love
time, you can
this.
see where he's coming from.
Yeah. I love this description of Galaran. I love how we just get like little like pieces of Galaran and like, because he really is just like a figure of folklore and legend. And it's so interesting to just like slowly learn more about him, especially in his home city.
Okay. We also get some additional lore here. We find out what Harthanem is.
Yeah,
After,
finally.
yeah. So Harthanem has been mentioned multiple times, like, oh, you're trying to get into Harthanem, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Whenever people are mentioned, like, oh, you're defying Maldor, haha, good luck with that. It is apparently the Emperor's pleasure palace. Some different ways we could take that, but we're not going to.
Yeah, let's not delve into that.
Let's not linger on that one. But
This is PG.
yes. Nicholas explains that only his staunchest enemies receive an invitation to the Eternal Feast. I have never been so honored. Those who accept live out their days in paradise, all cares forgotten. These days, most who pretend to oppose Maldor are motivated by hope for an invitation. Few possess enough backbone to actually earn one. Galaran was apparently invited multiple times, but turned down every invitation. But Nicholas is like, we're screwed. If you get one, take it.
Yeah. He's like, don't go the noble route. If you get the chance, take the invitation. So basically it's just like a place where, like I said, it's an eternal feast where you can just sit out your days in comfort and eat food and delicacies and not have to worry. It's such a genius thing for like someone who wants to get, rid of your enemies instead of killing them. Just make a place where it's easier for them not to fight.
I mean, that really has just always been, like, even from the beginning of this book, Maldor's MO. Like, his entire thing is measuring and, like, almost even encouraging opposition so that he can control it. He controls his enemies at every turn they make, and this is his way of saying, you're getting a little too far. I will congratulate you for your resistance, and here is your reward. So if people will not join him, this is kind of his way to remove them from the board, per se.
Nicholas also says, if you deny the feast, like your invitation to the feast, that's when you'll feel Maldor's full wrath. So he's like, just adding to the sense of like, you should take it when you can, because you don't want to know the consequences of what happens after.
So Jason's like, okay. So he's feeling a little bit shaken, seeing one of these devout followers saying, if I could go back, I would not do the same things. If you get the invitation, take it. And he's just like, okay, let's focus on maybe what we can do, right? Is there any way to break into the lore vault? Maybe we could just sneak in? And he's like, nope, no way. You could not do it.
Yeah. Nicholas literally even is like, yeah, my ancestors created the lore vault, so I actually know best out of anyone that you cannot sneak in there.
Like, don't you know about a weakness? Nope, it's impregnable. Which, I mean, gotta love a man who stands by his family's work.
True. He's like, nope, I know that you cannot get in. The only way to get in is if you are the regent or the chancellor. So.
And so Jason says, well, what if I become the chancellor?
He's like, okay, I guess I have to become the chancellor.
Oh, darn.
Which is what Nicholas tried to do. And then he lost his title and his legs.
And dignity.
And dignity and all hope for life. So, yeah, good chances, Jason.
But I mean, at this point, yeah, like, Jason is Lord of Caberton. And Caberton is practically a ruin, so...
It's a rubble pile, so... It's like, I got nothing to lose. So, they kind of devise a plan, and Nicholas is like, well, if you want to actually try for the chancellorship, you have to be recognized as, like, Lord Caberton, or Lord Jason of Caberton. And so you have to be, like, recognized by the regent, and then you will have the right to challenge Capernaum, who's the current chancellor, to a battle of wits. And the only way to become chancellor is to... Basically, you have to, like, ask the chancellor 3 questions and supply a better answer to at least one of the questions. And Capernaum has done it. He's been challenged 3 times, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He's been challenged 3 times and has never lost. He's very knowledgeable and formidable. So, yeah, no pressure, Jason.
No pressure. So, Jason's like, okay, anybody got riddles? Rachel comes up with a few, but even Nicholas is easily able to solve them either by logic or by having already heard similar ones. And so Jason's like, okay, this'll be tricky.
And he even says that Capernaum is better at reasoning than him. So...
Hence the, lack of titles and lack of legs.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he lost. So he's like, okay, we'll think about that later. First of all, we have to establish you as Lord of Caberton. So he's like, the only way to do that is if you have people vouch for you in front of the regent. And the only way to do that is either have connections or money. You don't have any connections, so you need money. So he's like, I will give you enough money to befriend a few people enough to vouch for you in front of the regent so that your claim to Caberton is recognized. So.
And even when, like, Jason and Rachel are, like, trying to thank him for the donations, he's like, no. I have more money than I know what to do with. But at the same time, he's like, I'm not doing this selflessly. Like, keep this in mind. I am doing this because you have a slim, maybe, chance of perhaps actually getting out of this. And because of that, I'm willing to sponsor you. Keep that in mind when anybody else decides to maybe help you out. They are never doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. It is always, always, always going to be selfish. We love that view on society.
It's basically what Farron told them, is that, like, if you Druma in your pocket, everyone's your friend. That's basically what Nicholas is saying. You gotta bribe people to support you in court, you know?
Or at least until they get the Druma out of your pocket into theirs. Then they're no longer your friends.
Exactly. But yeah, Nicholas is also like, well, you're gonna go up against my enemies. I might as well give you all the support that you need that I can give to give you the best chance that you can have.
Mm-hmm. So once he gives them the instructions, like, you should get outfitted, go to this inn, spend some money, lose some money, do the things you gotta do. And he even gives him a name to use to get himself out in the door. His name is Bartley of Worshon. He is an old viscount that the head of the inn would hopefully see as, oh, yeah, that makes sense. He's a softie. He'll vouch for you. That's fine.
Yeah.
And that would hopefully get Jason in the door. Going through then, though, Jason, like, is continually asking, like, what about the questions? What should I ask? Rachel pulls up some old riddles that she knows about from Earth, like, where is it? Oh, The more you take away from me, the bigger I can become. That one's a hole. And then she used the classic twins stand at a fork in a road. One always tells the truth, the other always lies. And even though Nicholas, again, had never heard the riddle before, he's able to solve it just by reason and logic within, like, a minute.
So yeah, basically they're like, we're gonna worry about that later. You have a few days.
Get yourself in first.
Another thing that Nicholas says is that he's like, my house, and first of all of Transicourt, but also like my house is under constant surveillance from spies. So I'm sure that the spies have already taken note that you've come to visit me. So another reason that he tells him to go to like a bunch of other shops to like of like the best quality to make it less suspicious of why he visited Nicholas. But he also says that Jason and Rachel need to split up because they're suspicious together and they need to like not associate with each other the rest of their time in Transicourt. And they're like, oh, but we're brother and sister. And he's like,
yeah, no,
not buying it. But he's also like, anyone who with like discerning eyes would not believe you're actually related. So yeah, he basically tells Rachel, I'm gonna send you to this boarding house, pretend that you're there waiting for your brother, and just wait there until this is over. And Rachel's like, but I want to help. And then Nicholas is like, you can't really do anything. This is all Jason. So again, Rachel is sidelined.
Yes.
This pursuit.
Nicholas does give some good points, though. Even, like, more than that, Rachel can't challenge or anything. He also mentions that she, like, by associating herself with Jason, would make herself a target for somebody seeking to then control Jason. It's like the old adage, like, wear your heart on your sleeve, you will give people something to aim at. Like,
yeah, he says, basically, your story should be, you met on the road on the way to Transicourt, figured out you're both coming to see me, and decided to travel together to my shop, but now you're gonna part ways.
So, that is the end of chapter 13. Then we get to chapter 14. Questions? Sorry, did we miss something?
Sorry. One thing. Jason has an idea. He's like, well, what if one of the questions that we asked was,
oh, yes.
what is the first syllable of the word that could destroy Maldor? And that makes Nicholas, like, burst out laughing, because he's like, that would almost be worth it, but
we would all die.
It wouldn't be, because everyone in the room would die. Everyone who's related to them would be killed. And then Maldor would, like, descend on Transicourt, basically. It would just hasten the fall of Transicourt. But he's like, it would almost be worth it. But not
just to see their faces.
Yeah.
Because he's like, Jason's like, hey, I know the answer to that, and I highly doubt he would.
Yeah.
But he's like, you would not survive the hour, but I would die a happy man seeing their faces.
Exactly. So yeah, Jason and Rachel have a little talk, and they're like, I think this is our best bet for what Nicholas has told us, so this should be our plan.
So, yes, that is the end of chapter 13. We get to chapter 14, questions and answers. And, you know, as these things go, we can assume that this is going to have the
Battle of Wits.
The Battle of Wits. Yes. So, Jason walks into the most highly regarded inn in Transicourt and goes, I am Lord Jason of Caberton. And everybody's just like, really?
Caberton?
But he actually makes his way. Okay. Yeah. He makes his way in the door. He starts talking to the host, Tedriel.
Tedriel? I
was going to say, audiobook reader, do you care to weigh in?
Tedriel.
Right, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So, Jason very quickly starts being loose with his money bag. He's like, I'd be happy to pay for a room in advance for several nights. He's way overcharged, but Nicholas said spend money, so he spends money. And continuing on, he mentions some names that Nicholas told him to throw out. He keeps most things vague, saying he doesn't mention the parents that supposedly received the title from Galaran. Because that's his story, is that his father was imprisoned with Galaran, who then passed the ring and the title on to him, and then it was passed down to Jason, and he's trying to take advantage of said bequeathing, I guess.
Yeah.
But, and that's the story
he's keeping it very vague.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he mentions the Viscount Bartley of Worshon that Nicholas mentioned, more of a recluse, stays out of Transcourt majority of the time, and a good lead, somebody who would help, or at least a name that would give some
authenticity.
Yes, that's a great word for it, thank you. And Tendrill's like, oh, what a coincidence. Did you know that the Viscount is actually visiting my established currently? And Jason's just like,
He's like, oh,
okay.
And he's like, let's go talk to him right now. And Jason's like, okay. And so in his mind, he's like, crap. He was buying it. Why did I have to mention the Viscount's name? And so they go up to like a gambling table, and Tedrill's like, Viscount, this is Jason of Caverton, your old friend. The Viscount turns around, is like looking at him, and Jason is panicking a little bit. But
a little?
A lot. He's like, crap, this is gonna take it all down. But he winks at the Viscount as like, just kind of like, oh, go along with it. And to his credit, he does. And he's like, oh yeah, Jason, my old friend. How are you? Let's catch up. And he like takes his shoulder and walks to the corner, and he's like, so who are you? And Jason's able to talk his way through it and kind of make friends with him. So,
well, I feel like
make
friends, I think, is a bit of a strong word.
Well,
he
very quickly buy a friend.
Yeah, he very quickly implies, I have money. And Bartley's like, okay, here we go. Because really, this is when the politics of Transcourt work in Jason's favor. Because he presents himself as a naive, untested, basically, he reveals himself to be vulnerable and exploitable to this Viscount.
An exploitable, young, naive person with deep pockets.
Exactly. And that is exactly why, that's why the Viscount took the chance on being like, okay, we can, let's see how this works out. I'll vouch for you. Because in many ways, he was probably expecting to be able to, cash in that favor, I could always tell people that you're not actually the Earl of Caperton, Lord of Caperton. I could have you expunged, but he never gets the chance because Jason's not playing the long game. He's playing the very, very short game.
Yeah, he only needs it for a week or two at most. But I will say there is a part where Bartley asks him, he's like, so how did you get the ring? And he repeats the story about his dad being in prison with Galaran. He's like, no, really, how did you get it? And then Jason tells another fake story of oh, my father purchased the ring off of a merchant, but he said that the merchant said that he really did get it from someone who is in prison with Galaran. And he's like, he also tells Bartley, he's like, I'm pretty sure Galaran is dead. And because he's like, I think that's what he needs to hear.
Well, that's what the majority of the nobility wants to hear.
Hey, he's able to do it. He makes it work.
We love a man who can do a good bluff.
And he immediately goes into a game of gambling.
That's what Nicholas told him to do. He's just following instructions.
He does. He loses a lot of money, gains some of it back, and kind of ends up in the positive at the end of the night. But makes some gambling friends along the way,
Mm-hmm. And over the next few nights, he's continuing to try and think of riddles, but he can't think of anything that he thinks will truly stump Capernaum?
Capernaum. However you want to say it.
That's fair. And
I say Capernaum.
Yeah, okay. So, I just find it interesting because, he keeps thinking, maybe I could go, trivia from biology class. He's like, the zygomatic arch, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, but he's just always concerned because he's like, well, what's the guarantee that they call these things the same? Maybe the zygomatic arch here is actually called the smiley muscle or something like that.
Yeah, who knows if it's the same. He's like, I don't really know what to ask.
Mm-hmm. So eventually, though, He loses a lot more money over the next few days, and it becomes 4 days later, he's sitting in a posh compartment of a carriage with the Viscount Bartley of Wesham on his way to an audience with the regent. He managed to secure a way for his title to be recognized, and the plan is continuing nicely, basically.
Yeah. As he's sitting there, he's still like trying to think of riddles, and this part's kind of funny. He said Jason had used all of his free time to consider riddles and questions. Some of the riddles Jason remembered were silly jokes from his childhood. What's easy to catch but hard to throw? A cold. Why did the baby cross the road? It was stapled to the chicken. What do you get when you cross a cactus and a porcupine? Sore hands. He's just like, he's got nothing, really.
I honestly appreciate the first one. I think it's funny. Easy to catch, but hard to throw.
It's funny. Yeah, but I don't think jokes would really go over well in a game of wits like that.
Yeah. He advances through the hall to a large, raised, circular piece of marble directly before the throne. On the throne sits the... Where do we go? Dolan.
Regent.
Yeah, the regent,
Dolan. The regent.
And Jason has an interesting observation here because he recognizes that this man looks much more like a king than Galaran had. He is surrounded by elegantly arrayed courtiers. He's a portly old fellow with plump, healthy features. A bejeweled circlet rested upon his head. Rings, all of these like fine garments. He's like, okay, this man looks like a king. And so, once he gets on top of the circular piece of marble, the partitioner's wheel, he has the right to directly address the regent. He's the only one allowed to do so.
It's basically the talking stick. But
yes, he has the talking stick. And as much as you think, those things do not work when you're in a high school classroom. You try, it don't work.
Sounds like you've had experience with this.
Mm-hmm. I tried so many times. But anyways, so Dolan addresses Jason saying, you claim the title of Caberton. Jason rehearses his story. I really like this next part. He is asked to stretch forth his right hand, the hand with the signet, and then the command, sound the tone, is issued. And a hollow metal tube, like a giant chime, hung from a chain off to one side of the throne. The man, dressed like a soldier, struck the long tube with a hammer, producing a deep, penetrating tone. Jason could feel his teeth vibrating. The ring on his finger began to glow, as did one of the regent's rings. Glancing around the room, Jason observed many other rings glowing, including a ring upon Bartley's hand. I like that a lot.
Me too. I think it's such a unique, like, detail of, like, oh, this is how you authenticate the rings that belong to the titles of the kingdom. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm. It makes you, like, want to know, like, what material are they made of? Like, what about the tube? Like, is it magic? Is it science? What is doing this? I want to know.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, Jason, again, he repeats his story about receiving the title from his father, who received it from Galaran. And when the regent asks for people to vouch for Jason, Bartley raises his hand, as well as two others that gambled with Jason over the past few days also raise their hands. So Jason's like, okay, we got this. So he swears the oaths to pledge fealty to Trenzacourt and to serve, defend Trenzacourt, word, thought, deed, yada, yada, yada. Classic fealty oaths, really.
Yeah. Right after, the regent recognizes him and said, okay, you are hereby known as Lord Jason of Caberton. Let's see. He's like, oh, you're free to, visit court and stand when you're here. Where is it? Oh, so, like, right after, like, Dolan, like, says that, Jason feels something like hit the back of his head, and he like looks over his shoulder.
It's probably a little pebble from the top of a pumpkin.
It says, yeah, hashtag Prisoner of Azkaban. Except they have a time turner. He sees a young woman in an attractive dress trying to mouth something to him, and he realizes that it's Rachel, and she's mouthing the word now, and like looking at him like being like, do it now. And the regent is like, has something else caught your attention? And everyone in the court kind of laughs, and then Jason is like, I'm sorry, Your Highness, I do have one small request for you at this moment. And Dolan is like, oh, what is that? And Jason says, I would like to challenge Chancellor Capernaum for the chancellorship. And the whole room explodes with reactions and noise. Everyone is shocked. It's very bold.
I find it so funny.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
This is basically like, this is the Hunger Games baby bomb. This is him just being mic drop.
Jason's mic drop moment. The sheer audacity of literally, he just was named Lord Jason of Caverton and now has the right to challenge him. And literally seconds later, he's like, okay, I challenge you. It's awesome. Such a good moment.
So, yeah. They have 20 minutes of recess before the Battle of Wits commences. And Capernaum, in response to the challenge, just says, I have no objection to annexing further holdings, however meager, to my own. We love a good slam ball.
Oh, yeah.
So, as the 20-minute recess starts, Bartley comes up and he's like, okay, so, you're full of surprises.
Yeah. He's like, they're like, no matter what happens, you will go down in history of being, like, the fastest to get your title recognized and then immediately go for the chancellorship.
He's like, you got it for sheer audacity, buddy.
Yeah. And some of the other guys are like, oh, what are you going to ask him? You know, give us a little preview. And Jason's like, you know, being like, no previews. I'll let everyone know in a minute.
But if you guys have any ideas, and they're like, nope, see ya.
Yeah, they're like, nope, Capernaum knows logic, he knows everything, he knows history like he lived it. I don't know why you would do this, but good luck. We don't really want to be associated with you right now.
Yeah, they're even asking, give us a preview. What do you mean to throw at him? And it's just like, yeah, Jason is more focused on the fact that he doesn't entirely know what he's going to ask yet. But you know these guys are just trying to, like, recoup some of the, like, notoriety that they have now lost by the fact that they were the ones to vouch for this person. They're like, crap, we vouched for him. We've got to try to get some credibility back. They're trying to find out what his questions are so they can relay them to Capernaum.
Exactly. And thankfully, Rachel comes up to him and she's like, okay, you did that perfectly. I wanted you to do that now, and you did. Because she basically explains that, like, one of the guys that he's, like, Jason's closely been associated with is a spy for Capernaum, and that Capernaum had his, like, eyes on them even before they went to meet Nicholas. Like, basically, like, they've been being watched this whole time. And so Rachel went back to Nicholas because she had an idea for a question and, you know, got her way into court. And she has, like, a paper with the questions written down for Jason to use.
Like, she even, like, gives some extra warning because she's like, yeah, don't say anything. Don't even open this paper until the contest starts because they are watching you with spy glasses right now.
Yeah, she's even, like, putting her hand over her mouth when she talks to try and, you know, limit the amount that people can read her lips.
Yeah, like, I'm picturing, like, the pitchers, like, during baseball games, like, they're covering their mouths when they're talking.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
And then she's like, we've been talking for too long, I have to leave. And she's like, I'm not even going to stay for the contest, you know?
So she dips.
So Jason just waits for the time for the contest to begin.
So, the rules of the contest we've mostly mentioned. 3 questions. The regent decides if Jason's answers are superior, and then they continue on. The stakes are if the Chancellor, Capernaum, loses, all he loses is the title of Chancellor. He maintains his holdings and everything. But if Jason loses, he loses the title of Caperton, along with all holdings and privileges.
I will also say, it says if Capernaum loses, he can also challenge him for the chancellorship again in 3 months.
So Jason's like, yeah, not gonna be a problem. We're not gonna be that long.
Exactly.
And so Capernaum asks...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Capernaum asks, what education have you received? Jason looked around the room, unsure how to respond. I'm almost in high school. We love the straight honesty. This is a very, very honest person.
Yeah, and Capernaum's like, I am one of the few graduates of the high school of Elbereth, and I know of no current prospects for that school. He's like, what are you talking about? And then Jason's like, actually, I go to a different high school. Roosevelt High School. Have you heard of it?
And I actually really like this part right here. Capernaum responds back with, so it would seem, after Jason says, I've traveled a lot. Capernaum says, your accent has a peculiar ring. English truly suits you. Capernaum stared knowingly. Jason kept silent. You gotta love when somebody's like, yeah, I know you're full of crap. I know you're from the beyond.
Yeah, I do love that part. Capernaum's just, subtly telling Jason,
I clocked you.
I know what you really are, but I'm not gonna actually say it.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I will allow this farce to continue. But yeah.
So how it goes is that Jason asks a question. Capernaum has 15 minutes to answer, and he can also challenge if a question is worthy. And then the regent has the final say on everything. And then if a question is disqualified, it counts as 1 to the 3. But basically, you have to ask the question. He has 15 minutes to answer, and Dolan is the last say on whose answer is better.
Mm-hmm. And Nicholas did warn Jason that if the answers are close, Dolan will likely side with Capernaum. Yeah. But Jason does have a chance. It's not that it's completely rigged against him, because at the end of the day, everybody knows that Capernaum is he's the one wearing the pants, basically.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
And so if Jason gives an authentically superior answer, Dolan will respect it, because he would see that as an opportunity to kick Capernaum to the curb and take the top spot himself.
Yeah, Dolan is just as wary of Capernaum as everyone else in Trensicord is. He knows that Capernaum is not loyal to him, but to Maldor.
Mm-hmm. So the contest begins, and Jason opens up his envelope, ready for the questions that Rachel prepared for him. So question 1 comes directly from Nicholas. He says that Capernaum is ashamed of his father, so although he can't answer the question, it will provoke him and might put him off balance. Ask the full name of his father. Jason responds, asks the question, and Capernaum's nostrils flare, his lips twitching toward a sneer. Which I find interesting, because even when Jason challenged for the chancellorship, Capernaum's face he was not surprised.
Yeah.
He kept a stone face, but this provokes a reaction.
Which I think is just brilliant. And so Capernaum's like, is that the full question? Yes. And so they flip over what's it called?
Hourglass.
I need you. Hourglass, thank you. Another word that left from my brain. And he is like, tell me you're joking. that you do not insult the renown of Roosevelt High School with your inane questions such as this. And then he's making fun of Jason again. He says, "Will the following question investigate my hat size? The answer is no mystery. Britannicus Kepler Dunscript Garconium the Ninth." And then Jason's like, "Wait, your dad's the lore master?" Which is really funny.
And Capernaum is just pissed.
He is pissed off. He's like, "Shut up. Don't talk about my dad."
Or author unknown.
Or author unknown. Exactly.
Maybe that's why he annotates his books as author unknown, because his son won't let him actually put his name on it.
Seriously though.
So
Okay,
it even says Capernaum's gaze became predatory. For an instant, hate flickered in his eyes. Then his expression relaxed. Perhaps his name is as I stated.
And then Dolan is like, "Jason, do you have a better answer?" And Jason's like, "Nope." And then the regent's like, "Okay, question 1 goes to Capernaum." And then Capernaum says, he's still trying to go Jason, and he says, "Apparently you do not fully comprehend the situation to which you have ensnarled yourself. Because of your youth and your newness to Trenzacourt, I extend the opportunity to withdraw. I'm under no demands to extend such a courtesy, but you may do so if you wish. What do you say?" And then Jason hesitates for a second. And then his sassiness comes out, and he says, "That was my remedial question." Just kind of making fun. Like, that was the softball, I'm just getting warmed up.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Time for the curveball.
Yeah, exactly. Question number 2. Oh, I didn't even realize I made a baseball joke of a person who plays baseball. Anyway.
I could not let that slide. That was an amazing joke.
That was good. Yes, here's the curveball. Question 2 is the awesome one that I came up with. This is Rachel writing down. Ask Capernaum about the words above the inside of the lore vault. He should have no idea this is connected to the word and have no reason to withhold an honest answer. So, question 2, Jason says, "Inside the lore vault, there is an inscription above the door. From left to right, what is written there?" And this seems to really confuse Capernaum a bit. Not the question he was expecting. And he gives an interesting, follow-up question. Capernaum asks, "Are you suggesting you've been inside the lore vault?" And for a second, Jason is like,
"Crap.
Wait, I need to BS this so he doesn't, say something that's not correct." And so all that he says is "My father may have disgraced us, but I come from an ancient family," insinuating that maybe somewhere in his distant ancestry, one of his ancestors may have been in the lore vault and knows the inscription or something. So, yeah.
And so he responds saying, "Very well. The words are Illum bec nori fex fera sut copis ostrum." And Jason, smartly, I would mention, he knows that it's the word on the 4th stone. So he asks, "How did you pronounce the 4th word?" "Fex." And then a little extra curveball to throw him off the scent. "And the 7th? Copis." And so Jason manages to, well, I'm going to say Rachel managed to finesse their way into the 3rd syllable. Fex.
Yes. I like how the next part is Jason's like, "Fex, fex, fex, fex," committed to memory.
That'd be a terrible thing to forget.
Yeah, because Rachel's not there.
Exactly.
And so in his mind, he has, the syllables right out. It's A blank, fex, N blank.
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 So halfway there, you got 3 syllables.
In the Kindle, it's missing 2 blanks. It's missing a blank.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
There's only 1 blank after the N. Weird.
Kendall, how dare you lie to us?
Yeah, I was like, that's 5. I was like, why is there not a 6th
I'm looking at
line?
your book, and it definitely has the 6th one.
Yeah, I was like, I know there's 6 syllables.
And so the regent declares the second question also goes to Chancellor Capernaum. And so Capernaum is like, okay. He's like, I got this in the bag. Enjoy your moment of notoriety, lordling. Unless your third question is considerably less sophomoric than the first two, this will be the last time you stand inside this castle. Castle. I said that really weird.
And so the regent's like, okay, Lord Jason, your final question. And this part's really funny. Jason felt a compulsion to ask, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
He's still a teenager, folks.
But he resists. So funny, though.
And so Rachel's final instructions were, give it your best shot. Give it your fastball.
Yeah.
Because she's like, you've already, like, ideally, question 2 means you already got the syllable, so you don't have to win now. And I love this so much. I love the bait and switch that is this scene.
So good. So good.
Because at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, Jason's not going to win this. Or before he gets the syllable, you're expecting him to win somehow, some way. But the second we get the syllable, it's like, okay, he no longer has to win. He could probably just throw out a random question and then leave afterwards. But he pulls out this question. What is the longest one-syllable word you can think of? And it's so interesting because this is a question that he came up with a friend from his English class. I don't even know how long ago. But it was stemmed from the fact that the kid's name was Steve Vaughn, spelled Vaughn, along 6 letters with only one syllable. Yeah. And I find this so interesting because this is something that I genuinely did as a kid. I remember when I was learning to type, I would notice, like I would, like, hear words and I would count, like, how many I would count how many letters would be typed with each hand.
Interesting.
And I would find, like, think of, oh, that's interesting. This word is completely typed with the right hand. This one's tightly typed with the left. This one barely has more with the right. This one's barely more with the left. That's something that I did as a kid.
I've never thought of that before. Like, which hand you use to type out the word. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I would, like, just count on my fingers. It would just be, like, one of the things I did when I was, like,
it's
just,
so interesting.
Zoning out during teaching.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like, what, like, little, like, things, like, you do, like, with, as a kid, or, like, that your mind. And this question is so, like, brilliant. Because it's not something, and, like, Jason, like, while Capernaum is thinking, first of all, he asks, are you asking me to name the monosyllabic word containing the most letters? And Jason's like, yes. And he can tell that, like, this is not something that Capernaum has ever really thought about before. So he's like, maybe I do have a chance. This is my Hail Mary.
And, like, the Chancellor's actually having to think about it. He's crossing and uncrossing his arms, rubbing his brow, staring at the floor. It doesn't tell us how much time he takes before he actually answers the question. But I'm guessing he's taken a bit. And Jason even mentions that ever since the conversation with Steve, he had noticed whenever he came across a long one-syllable word. Again, once a kid gets something in their brains, they do not let it go. Like, it's one of the things that they just notice. Like, even to this day, sometimes I'll find myself doing, like, the little typing thing every once in a while. Or when I'm going upstairs, I'll try to make it sure that, like, my outside foot doesn't correspond to when there's, like, a pole from the railing sticking out to the separate same... I'm weird. I'm weird. I just do strange things
I feel like we all have things like that.
Yeah, we've all got little quirks.
Something, it's not with, like, words, but sometimes when I'm driving, like, I'll notice, so, like, I have a red car, and I'll notice if, like, 2 cars of the same color are in front and behind me, and I'm like, oh, I'm into sandwich. Like 2 white cars in front of me, white cars behind me, I'm like, oh, I'm into sandwich, something like that. Or, like, I don't know, like, I'll, like, notice, like, the color of cars and, like, patterns and stuff, or be like, all 5 of those cars in a row were all gray or something like that. Like, just things like that. Like, they're just different things that, like, your brain just notices in patterns and stuff. It's interesting.
Yes. So, at the end, Capernaum finally answers and he says, I have your answer. How dare you pose such an absurd riddle? The longest monosyllabic word I can think of is thoughts. 8 letters. And this, I lied. This is the challenge was not the mic drop moment. This is it.
There's 2. All eyes shifted to Jason. He straightened. Apparently, Chancellor, 1-syllable words are not one of your strengths. 9 letters.
It's so good the way he says it.
Oh, it's fantastic. This is definitely one of my favorite moments in these books. It's so cool.
I just love the way he phrases the rebuttal. Like, do I think a 14-year-old could have come up with that on the fly? Probably not. Is it still amazing as heck? Oh yeah.
Seriously. And ever since reading this, I feel like I take notice of long 1-syllable words.
Same. But honestly, I do not think you can get longer than strengths. Because it manages to...
I have no idea.
But it manages to combine, like, so many, like, good consonants that... I don't even know how to describe it. Somebody else could probably do better, but... Good job, buddy. Good job.
Yeah. That moment is just so good. Oh my gosh.
Especially because Capernaum was obviously not expecting it. And he even tries to, like, appeal. He's like... But he said the longest word that I could think of. At the time, the longest word I could think of was thoughts. And he's like, it's a riddle. One thinks thoughts. Like, come on.
And then Dolan's like, no, you asked a clarifying question if it was the longest monosyllabic word you could think of. And he said yes. So, Dolan says, Lord Jason of Caverton is the winner.
And effective immediately, he is the new chancellor. And Jason is just shook.
Yeah, he's like, that worked? Thank you, Steve Vaughn. We owe it all to Steve.
We owe it all to Steve.
That's so funny. Can I just say, we gotta give a hand to Brandon for, like, that line of, like, one of your the fact that it's, like, one of your strengths, like... Dang, that's crazy.
And you know what? That's I will say that it would totally be in character for a 14-year-old boy to come up with that, like, rebuttal line on his, like the night before like, and be like, I pray I get to use this.
This is how I'm gonna win the rap battle, basically. Are you ready for a cabinet meeting?
You don't have the votes. You don't have the votes. Ha 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 ha.
Daddy's calling.
Why he even brings the thunder.
Why I even breathe the thunder.
Oh man. It's just so good. And I do enjoy that at this point, the entire, like, crowd is just roaring. They're just, like, absolutely shook. But, and even after, like, the mantle of chancellorship has been removed from Capernaum's shoulders and moved to Jason's, like, the throng is applauding. There were even a few cat calls. And I can just imagine that, like, the entire nobility of of Transicourt is just taking this opportunity to be like, oh, it is so good to see this guy humbled. Are we going to stand behind him for the entire rest of this and kick Jason out as soon as possible? Yes.
Yes.
But are we also going to enjoy this for the second that it's here? Oh, heck yes.
Mm-hmm. And after Jason is, like, officially crowned as chancellor, Capernaum goes up to him and shakes his hand and whispers in his ear, congratulations, Lordling. You will be dead by sunrise.
I love that it even adds he breathes out the words while smiling kindly. It's just like...
Yes.
We love a smiling snake.
Exactly. And Jason is, you know, in a haze of, like, oh my gosh, did that really just happen? Did I just win? So he's not really, like, taking in everything that's happening, but he's like being introduced to all the people of the court, and he's like, I can tell that they're trying not to show a lot of, enthusiasm to me being the chancellor, because they don't want to catch the ire of Capernaum. So
Yeah, it's still very clear that even disgraced and ousted, he's still the true power in the city.
exactly.
Like, even the regent, he even says, like, he takes Jason's hand and raises it high in the air. I call for a feast to welcome our brash... I didn't notice that. Our brash new... I'm sorry. I find that funny. Our brash new chancellor. I mean, call it how it is, Dolan. I'll respect you for that.
Yeah.
But it says, to be held at the end of the coming week in my banquet hall. Interesting. And then he's like, you just demonstrated great poise. We shall meet in private later this afternoon. I look forward to exchanging ideas with you. And it's just like, you can just tell. He's like, let's save the feast until like next week.
He's like, you're not gonna last till then, but we'll talk today when I think you'll still be alive.
Except for the thing is, I don't think they do. Like,
They don't. They talk the next day.
and I can just see it being like, let's see if he survives the evening before
Yeah.
I, spend any money or waste any breath on this guy.
Exactly. I like how it ends, because, it's like, Jason turned and looked for Capernaum. The Marquis had already departed. He's not the Chancellor anymore. He's a Marquis. He's already gone. Plotting your demise.
Yeah. So we move on to chapter 15, Chancellor, because that's what Jason is now, because of course he is.
Yeah, he's the Chancellor, probably the youngest Chancellor ever. Fastest to the challenge for the Chancellorship. Like, if he were like getting Guinness World Records, he would just have a bunch of them already.
He'd have like a wall entirely filled with plaques. And so here he's standing on the edge of his balcony, overlooking the vast reaches of Transicourt, which is apparently a very beautiful city. It's on the top of a plateau. It's honestly, it kind of reminds me of where I grew up, because I grew up in Page, which is constructed on top of a plateau, and like there are like roads coming up to it, and I almost pictured Transicourt similar, just, bigger.
Yeah.
Even describes
not
like
red
red
rock.
stone. Yeah.
Oh, it is red? Yeah.
Well, it mentions red stones earlier when it talks about them like climbing to the top of the plateau. So,
Oh, I didn't notice that.
how else would they get red stones if there were not red stones in abundance around them?
True. Maybe there's some chasms around as well.
Yes, perhaps. Well, I mean, it's also like when it comes to plateaus, like it requires like sandstone, sedimentary rocks in general to create, just because of like similar with canyons. Like canyons up in like more mountainous country, mostly those are carved by like glaciers moving through them, whereas canyons in sedimentary locations, it's just the water of a river is just carving through it. At least that's my understanding of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's sitting in his new bedroom, thing of rooms that was, recently deserted by Capernaum. And he says that, like, he has an office and a page and a cook and a scribe and 2 bodyguards, and they were all newly assigned to him. And they weren't assigned to Capernaum, but he's like, I really can't trust anyone. He's just kind of being, like, nervous,
Like, yeah, he's literally
Anxious.
debating, like, which one of these people are going to try and kill me.
Yeah. He
Like,
even said,
he
like, he'd
mentioned-
been looking for, like, a way to get out, but he, like, hadn't found an opportunity as of yet to leave.
Like, he mentions the threat to the regent, to his bodyguard, Norval, I believe his name is. Mm-hmm. But he's just like, I don't know. He's like, the only person he feels like he can really trust is Rachel, and he's missing her at this moment. He's like,
Yeah.
could she be irritating at times? Sure, but she was also smart and fun, and he knew he could trust her. Seeing her in the
Exactly.
throne room, Seeing her in the throne room had reminded him how much he had grown to rely on her. She had become a real friend. He wished she could have remained with him today.
I feel like one part I wish we could know, but obviously we don't get, is what Rachel's doing this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Wish we could have seen her point of view in Transit Court, but like I understand, like narratively it was better for her to just show up, and then
Mm-hmm.
give him the questions. Better reveal that way. But yeah.
Yeah. She gets to be the deus ex machina, like, hey, here you go.
Yeah. You know that thing you've been stressing out about over the past few days? Well, here's the answer to your questions.
Or here's the question for your
Here's
answer.
the questions. Exactly. And so Jason, and his anxiety is like, well, these rooms used to belong to Capernaum, and who better to tell an assassin how to get in the room than the person that used to live here? He's like, for all I know, he could give his assassins a key to the room and stuff. So he's just like, I need to be super careful tonight. So he decides to sleep under the bed instead of in the bed.
Very smart. After arranging the pillows and blankets in a way that it made it look like somebody was still sleeping in it. Very
Classic.
smart. Classic.
The
So he
classic
goes-
move.
So he lays down. He's trying to stay awake, but his thoughts turn to home. He thinks about his dog, Shadow, and whether or not his parents have figured out how to care for him yet. He imagined his dog is missing him more than anyone. He's like, what's Matt doing? Or Tim? Like, are they used to me not having him around? He's just like, it hurts. It hurts a bit.
Mm-hmm. So, he has knife in hand, but as we know, when it gets boring, Jason falls asleep.
A little bit of narcolepsy.
Yep, he falls asleep, but he wakes up to a noise.
So at least he sleeps
And-
lightly.
Yeah. He hears someone in the room, and so he's like, okay, yep, the assassin is here. And he, like, edges over to the side where he sees, like, their feet. And as they, like, approach the bed and, like, pull back the covers, he goes for the Achilles heel. Because he remembers that his, like, uncle had, like, hurt his Achilles or something, basically take down a person, go for the Achilles. And so he
It
does.
is well named
which-
the Achilles. It is the downfall of many a strong man.
Exactly. So, yeah, the combination of him not sleeping in the bed and attacking the assassin before they can attack him saves his life, and he calls out for help, and his guard, Norval, comes in the room. But sadly, the assassin throws a knife at Norval, which takes him in the stomach. And before any of the other guards can come in, the assassin escapes down the fireplace. The Flu Network.
Oh my gosh,
does
I
say
never realized
flu.
that's why it's called. Oh my gosh, I never realized that's why it was called that. Because the flue is referred to like the inside of a chimney. I
Yes.
never put that together. Oh my Lanta.
That's why they're in Harry Potter. They're in the fireplace.
It's called the Flu Network because it's literally the flu. Oh my gosh. Oh, I need to take a second to process this. Like,
Oh,
my
this is a
entire
great
world was
discovery.
just.
It all makes sense now.
It really does. Like, because I mean, think about it. Like, Erised is desire backwards. Diagon Alley is just diagonally.
Diagonally, yeah.
I am flabbergasted. My flabbers are gasted.
Sarcastic. Yep. That's why
My
it's Flu
Lanta.
powder.
The Flu Network. Gone through the flu. How did I never put that together?
I don't know, but you learn something new every day, so there's your fun fact of the day.
In my defense, they were spelled differently.
I think that was definitely on purpose in Harry Potter. Yeah.
And like
She
when you're
likes to
reading
do
it,
that.
like I didn't always pronounce them in my head, so I probably just never heard it. So, huh.
Yeah. I listen to audiobooks, so I can hear Jim Dale in my mind saying flu.
All right, so more guards rush in, and Jason tells them that the assassin escaped through the fireplace heading down, which is actually very. It makes sense. Like in a castle, if you're gonna have hearths in some of the rooms, you're gonna want to prioritize space, and you're just gonna have them share the chimney. I don't entirely
Yep.
understand how it works. I'm pretty sure it's like grates and things like that.
Yeah, me neither. That's probably how it works, yeah.
Yeah, like just grates to put like your logs and fire on. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's a cool concept, that's for sure.
That makes sense.
I also like one reason I know that this is a thing as well because Artemis Fowl. Did you ever read those?
I didn't read them, but I know of them.
Well, at one point they capture a dwarf who had several escape routes planned through. One of which was there was a filled-in flue system in the building, which went straight up and down. So even though he was on such a high floor, dwarves were excellent diggers, so he was able to just jump into the filled-in fireplace and just dig his way straight down.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So yeah, cool.
So yeah, two of the guards go in pursuit of the assassin, the other two stay, and this part's really sad. His bodyguard, who got attacked by the assassin, is like, "Oh, is the Chancellor safe?" And he's like, and the other guards are like, "Yes, Lord Jason is unharmed," and he's dying because the blade was poisoned. So he just kind of like dies right there in front of Jason, and it really kind of shakes him up because he's like,
Well,
"Oh, that poisoned knife was meant for me."
Yeah. Well, the hard thing is that Norval isn't even dead yet.
Yeah.
And like he's just sitting there writhing. He even asks like the fellow guards. He says, "End this," because this is a poison apparently known as bloodbane, which is a foul toxin, excruciating and without antidote. And
Yeah.
like there's nothing they can do. He falls into unconsciousness, but he's spasming and just. I like to
It's
think that
brutal.
once Jason's out of the room, they end his suffering, but still.
Yeah.
And Jason honestly feels a little bit guilty because he's like, I was wondering if this man was in on it, if he was hesitant to cry out initially because he was thinking maybe he's complicit. Like, he doesn't
Part
know
of
how many
it,
people
yeah.
in this world are under Capernaum's thumb.
Uh-huh.
Like, but this man died to save him, and he's just like, wow.
Yeah, he feels pretty guilty about it. Even though it's not his fault. He's also trying to take in the fact that someone just tried to assassinate him, and that they're still out there. The realities of this world are setting in again.
So, Jason is taken into the care of the King's Guard. I guess Regent's Guard at this point, but say less.
he says captain of the King's Guard, so yeah.
Yes.
Technically the regent, but
Yeah, Galarin's not around, so it makes it
Yeah.
difficult. They do what they can in the meantime. So they...
it's not worth renaming them.
Yes. So they make their way eventually to Dolan, and they proceed to the lore vault so that they can confer in privacy.
Yes.
And-
Dolan,
Yeah.
we have another. It's interesting. There's another lock that has to do with pegs, like at the
I love that so much.
yeah, what's it called?
To get into the lore vault.
No. The
Repository
first
of
place.
Learning.
The repository of learning. I think it's so interesting, and it makes me wonder if those locks were created by one of Nicholas's ancestors. I feel it very likely. Because
Yeah.
Nicholas's ancestors created the lore vault. So they probably created the lock, which means they probably created the lock in the repository of learning as well.
So they enter the lore vault, and Jason is examining his his surroundings. He looks up at the arch and he confirms that, okay, it is indeed Vex. Like, he officially has half the word.
It's a nice confirmation.
But continuing on, Jason sits at a table with Dolan, and he notices that the table in front of them is a map. He's like, oh, hang on, this is cool. So he starts like examining it, looking at places that he's been. He's like, the little fishing town he'd been near was Flet, where they met Farron and were in prison was Carning, and he just goes through all these places, and he's like, this is really cool. But I do really like this little insight into Capernaum's character, because Dolan says that Capernaum insisted on this map, and that Maldor would frown upon it. But Capernaum, and I think this just gives us a little insight a bit more on Capernaum, just being someone who, yes, he's subservient to the emperor, but he still wants his own secrets. He has his own agendas. He's not going to follow completely.
Information is his currency, so having one of the few accurate maps in the realm is very valuable.
So yeah. Continuing on. Let's see.
So Dolan is like, oh, you did well surviving the attack. And Jason's like, yeah, well, Capernaum said I wouldn't live past sunrise, but my bodyguard Norval, sacrificed himself for me. So how do we retaliate against Capernaum? And Dolan's like, wait. You could tell he's still very much cowed by Capernaum, because he's like, we cannot be sure that it was Capernaum. Yes, he threatened you earlier, but that was in a moment of embarrassment just right after he lost. And the knife that was used against your bodyguard had a sign of Maldor. So that points more towards... Yeah. That points more towards the assassin being from Maldor. He's like, we cannot accuse Capernaum without concrete proof.
And even then, like, as much, he's never implies that it was Capernaum, and he's like, maybe it'll be fine. He's like, maybe it'll be without, like, maybe we can continue this without bloodshed. And I really like Jason's observation in a minute, where he says, where after Dolan says, most men in this kingdom would endure anything to avoid an outright feud with Capernaum, including you, Jason added silently. At first glance, this ruler had looked much more authentic than Galaran, but on closer inspection he possessed neither the backbone nor the personal presence of the blind king. I love the dichotomy there.
Me too. I also marked that. I just think it's so interesting that... And the comparison is so much more interesting because Dolan literally sits on the throne that Galaran is supposed to sit on. But he doesn't measure up to Galaran. And it's so interesting because we've seen Galaran as the blind king sitting in, this decrepit old broken down castle, blind, looking defeated and stuff. And then this Grand Regent in what's said to be the most powerful kingdom in Lyrian, but he still has no true power. And I just think it's so interesting.
It's just such a beautiful, like, and it's even, like, just in their personalities more than their, like, Galaran, bent and broken, still has the will to resist. Whereas Dolan has the command of one of the greatest kingdoms, like you said, and is too scared to do anything.
Yeah. He has all the power, but not the backbone to use it.
Yeah.
Such a good, observation by Jason.
I do also like this paragraph from the Regent, because it shows that as much as he is, serving Maldor in everything but name, he does still have more or less a mind of his own. He says, "Be reasonable. The semblance of freedom we maintain depends on keeping Maldor appeased. To a degree, that includes keeping Capernaum content. Should he openly align himself with the Empire against us, all could be lost. I like you, Jason. I admire the composure you showed facing Capernaum. It was a daring stunt. Nevertheless, you are an upstart about whom I know very little. In perilous times, one must overlook greater injustices than a botched assassination in order to preserve peace. This kingdom cannot afford idealism. If you hope to endure, you must learn the art of compromise."
Yeah.
He's just like, at the end of the day, I can't afford to support you. I'm sorry.
And Jason is like, but I'm like your number one advisor, your biggest supporter. Like, attacking against me is attacking against the kingdom. And Dolan is like, he basically like, my hands are tied. This is like one event. I can't risk everything just to respond to this assassination attempt, basically.
And I think overall, this is the difference between Capernaum and Dolan. Capernaum, he's in it for itself. He just wants power. He wants to advance in the hierarchy of Maldor. Dolan, he does seem to care about Trenzicort overall.
Yeah, I would agree. But Dolan goes on to say, the reason that he brought Jason to the Lore Vault is that he received a letter that gives Jason another option. And he gives him the envelope, and it reads as follows. It's very pompous.
I also appreciate the fact real quick, that this envelope arrived after the assassination attempt.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, you survived. Okay. Well, here's another way to deal with you then."
Yeah.
"My esteemed Lord Jason, your presence is humbly requested at the Eternal Feast at your soonest convenience. A glorious banquet will be held in your honor upon the day of your arrival. Be assured that Harthenham Castle permanently stands upon neutral territory as far as all political matters are concerned. Many dwell here happily who, like you, openly opposed our imperial leadership in times past. Impose our imperial leadership in times past. Allow me to personally encourage you to seize this rare opportunity to rest from your struggles for a time as my honored guest. May my home ever be your haven. Your sincere admirer, Duke Conrad of Harthenham." So Jason has officially gained an invite to Harthenham, the Eternal Feast.
And as much as I said that I think that Dolan does have a care for Trenzicort, he also, I kid you not, he salivates over even the concept of this letter. Like, he's like, "Can I see it?" Literally licking his lips and just being like, "I've never beheld such a cool thing before." And I'm just like, dude, keep it together.
He is so jealous that Jason has that, because it's obvious that's all he really wants, is to, forget his worries and cares and just go to the Eternal Feast. He even describes it, because Jason's like, "Oh, I've heard of Harthenham," and he's like, Dolan's like, "Who hasn't? It's like, it's merely a paradise visiting the mortal world, a fortress against all concerns, a sanctuary of endless delights. Those who invited are pardoned of all crimes, and they live out their days in careless luxury." And Jason's like, "That kind of sounds like being a king." And then Dolan's like, "In many ways, superior to kingship. A king has duties, enemies, fears. Those who dine at the Eternal Feast know hardship only as a memory." And Jason's like, "Have you gone?" And, as we were saying, Dolan's like, "I wouldn't be here if I had. None return." And Jason finds that interesting. He's like, "Wait, no one's ever come back from Harthenham?" And Dolan's like, "Well, why would anyone ever leave?" And Jason's like, "It sounds more like a prison to me, but okay."
Dolan even says, "In a sense, perhaps it is. A voluntary prison where none complain. Would that I could live out my days in similar incarceration."
he wants it so bad.
Well, I mean, it serves its purpose.
Yeah. But Jason, to his credit, sees right through it. The ploy was obvious. The feast was a permanent bribe, allowing Maldor to get rid of his enemies. But still, the prospect of being out of danger was attractive. So even though he's like, I don't really want it, he can definitely see the appeal, obviously.
Mm-hmm. He also is like, what would happen to Rachel even if I did accept? I also like to think that, like, for Jason, a kid who grew up in the 21st century, like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like maybe his, like, access to modern conveniences almost make this, like, less appealing to him. Like, he could have food ready for him in 2 minutes using a microwave.
Yeah, that's a good point, honestly.
Like, kids growing up in, like, a medieval time period all had duties, chores, work to do.
Yeah.
Jason probably lived like a king in comparison to them.
Honestly, yeah. That's a good point. He's like, it's not that much different, just a little more like pomp and
A little more sugar in each of the meals.
sugar and addiction and everything, but
So this is basically his escape plan, his way out. Like, everybody's assuming that he's leaving to go to the Eternal Feast. Like, he says, I needed some time to think it over. And Dolan's over here just like, oh, yes, go for it. You know, there's no shame in wanting to accept it. Like, don't even worry about it. But the second that Jason even implies that maybe I'll need a coach or a way to travel, Dolan's like, enough said, buddy. I got you.
he's like, I get what you're saying. There is one paragraph I want to... Oh, you go ahead and I'll read this.
Well, I was just going to say, Dolan says, I take your meaning, relief in his tone. I can have a coach made ready within the hour along with a tight-lipped driver. Should you elect to depart, no man would blame you. And Jason just thinks in his head, some would, just not the sort you work with. And I was like,
Another
love
good,
that little...
Jason is on it. So good. And we could put this before what we just talked about, but there's this one paragraph I want to read. Because right after he's thinking, like, should I accept it? Nicholas said that I should. What would Rachel do? You know, she doesn't have an invitation. But I like this one part. I just barely noticed this, but he glances at the syllable over the doorway. It says, glancing at the syllable over the door, Jason sighed. And it's almost like he's looking at the invitation, his one choice to leave it all behind and, you know, live his days out in luxury and gluttony and whatever. And then he looks at the syllable and remembers what it represents. And it says, Maldor was evil. The men who worked for him were evil. The Eternal Feast might simply be another trap. How could anyone know how great it was if no one ever returned? Besides, the fact that the invitation was being issued meant that Maldor was getting worried. And he should be. Jason already had half of the word that could destroy him. And I really like this, like, small moment of, like, contemplation on Jason's part where he's just, like, refocusing back on his goal and remembering why he's there in the first place. And it's obvious to see that the fact that he now has gotten a invitation to Hearthenham, that what he is doing is becoming a threat to Maldor. And I think that's a good reminder for him.
I agree. And Jason, less than 2 hours later, is stretched out in the compartment of a fine coach. The outside, a shiny black and decorated with silver filigree, pulled by 6 powerful horses. And he's like, off we go. He's got provisions prepared by his cook, and he's still wearing, while traveling clothes, courtly attire.
Yeah. So he pulls up to the inn, the Stumbling Stag, and he's like thinking in the back of his mind, hoping that Rachel is also doing the same thing. As he pulls up, let's see. He climbs out of the coach.
He first takes a nap.
Oh, yeah. Well, he always takes a nap.
Yeah.
On
But
his
yeah,
way
they
the
pull up to the
stumbling
stumbling stag. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, you're good. Pulls up to the stumbling stag, and leaning in the doorway, watching him come up, is Farron. And he's like, "Come inside, Lord Jason," giving a bow. Jason's like, "Don't say my name so loudly. We don't want to stand out." And Farron's like, "Oh, then maybe you shouldn't have pulled up in such a elaborate, expensive carriage.
With
Would
the
you
royal
prefer
crest.
with the royal crest? Would you prefer I address you as Chancellor?"
I do love this because last Farron knew they were going to see Nicholas.
That's so true. From Farron's point of view, this is so funny. He was just traveling with these two kids, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go meet Nicholas, and we have to talk to him." And he's like, "Okay, maybe see you in the next 2 weeks, I guess." And then Jason pulls up in the royal carriage, and he's Chancellor. It's so funny.
I mean, the kid did well for himself in Trensicourt.
Not what he was expecting.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Farron's like, "Yeah, everybody knows, dude. Like, everybody knows that you managed to become Chancellor. I was just shocked to know that it was your name."
I like how he describes it. News of that sort travels on wings.
Mm-hmm.
News travels fast.
Yeah. And then Jason's like, "Well, did you know that that Capernaum tried to kill me?" And Farron's like, "Oh no, you made it ahead of that one." But yeah, he's like, "I wish I could pretend to be surprised. Now the same man has tried to kill each of us and failed. I guess that seals our friendship."
Who would have thought? It was also Capernaum that tried to kill Farron. And Farron's
because
like, "Yeah,
apparently... Sorry, go for it.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead."
Well, because apparently Farron stole his cousin's fiancée, then killed his cousin in a duel.
And to clarify...
10 commandments. The 10 commandments. Sorry, had to.
And he says,
continue.
To clarify, the cousin insisted on the duel, and I fought fair. So, it's a fair fight.
And yeah, was still executed. How sad.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't even get the girl because she found out he was a displacer.
So they order food, and while they're waiting, let's see. And while they're waiting, Rachel comes in, having made it along with her escort, Bruce, I believe? Bruce, yeah.
Yeah. Such a common name. It's just kind of funny. When I hear the name Bruce, I think of Bruce from Finding Nemo, the shark.
My first was Bruce Wayne.
That too.
So, they mentioned that their next stop is White Lake for a little bit of sightseeing, but I mean they have the coach, so they got some time to go in style.
Farron's like, "Oh, I've never been to that town," and Jason's like, "No, actually, I want to see the White Lake." And Farron's like, "Why are you going to all these random places?"
But he's like, "But I'll come with." As he mentioned before, his life debt still has not been paid back to them. Is his justification on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Jason also mentions he has an invitation to the Eternal Feast.
Yeah, it's kind of meant to be like his explanation because Farron's like, "Man, you're fleeing from Trensicourt. I imagine like the region, the former chancellor aren't very happy about it." He's like, "Actually, no, Dolan gave me the chariot." He's like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, I got an invitation to the Eternal Feast." And Farron, I can imagine, does like the whole spewing water kind of thing. Like, wait, what?
Like, what did you just say? And it's like, "Yeah, I got one." And, you know.
Not planning on accepting it, but I have it.
Yeah. And that also surprises Farron. He's like, "You're not gonna say yes to the Eternal Feast?" Insinuating, "Are you crazy?"
"Are you daft?" is the direct quote.
Yes, exactly. Why did you even get an invitation in the first place? What have you been doing?
This is what starts ringing the bells for you? Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Not the man with a regrown arm directly sent by the conscriptors to hunt him down specifically. Like, I feel like...
Yeah.
Like, the warning bells were ringing a long time ago. So, yes.
So, yeah. Rachel pulls up, and they eat some food.
Explain the sitch. And she explains kind of what she's been up to over the past few days. Because, I mean, we haven't seen her for 4 days of book time at this point.
It's true. It's been a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Jason also tells her the third syllable is Vex.
Mm-hmm. And Jason also gives her, like, the great credit. He's like, great question, great call. That was an amazing, like...
Yeah.
She's like, thanks.
It was nothing.
So they start eating, and Farron, being Farron, I love him so much, but he says,
funny.
While you've been busy, I've been resting. So tell me, Rachel, have you married a prince and become the future queen of Kadara, which we'll know is the final resisting kingdom? Like, that is currently where the war is being fought by Maldor.
Yeah.
But he's like, of course, if one can become the Chancellor of Transicourt, the other can surely become the Queen of Kadara.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
And so she's like, my time wasn't nearly as interesting as Jason's, but it was stressful enough that I'm grateful to get away.
Leave the city life to the masochists, Farron said, waving a decisive hand. It's the open road for us. That's the end of chapter 15. And the end of the Transicourt arc.
Mm-hmm. This is a really fun set of chapters, that's for sure.
It is. It is fun. I like it.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good arc. Gets us some good characterization. We see growth on Jason's part. And it's a really interesting setup where we have, like, this city where, like, the political intrigue is just so high. Mm-hmm. And we have Jason just being absolutely clueless to the majority of it.
Yeah. And we get a little glimpse of, like, more about, like, Galaran and the people that used to, you know, be involved with him, and like Nicholas gives us more background and stuff, and it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a very, and also for only being 3 chapters, it feels a lot longer.
It was a lot in those 3 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot happens.
Yeah, it ends up being, hang on, let me do the quick page count. About like 67. You saw it clock on my face.
I guess you have to say it.
Like, I was just doing the calculation that I had to say it, and I was like, oh, crud. Alright, and it was about 67 pages worth of content.
67.
But it's really, really fun to... And it's only 3 chapters, but it's just very well self-contained, and it sets up well for other events that happen later on in the series.
Mm-hmm. We finally get the answer to, like, what Harthanum really is, and Jason gets an invitation to it.
Convenient timing.
To shine, you know? Not only becoming recognized as Lord Jason of Caberton, but taking over the chancellorship to everyone's surprise, especially his own surprise.
I actually really do like that because, like, up until this point, Rachel's been kind of the
brains of the operation.
I was gonna say the book smart.
The book smart, yeah. Not that Jason's stupid. He's not.
No, he's not.
But Rachel is very quick on the uptake.
Yeah, she's been very quick on the uptake, and, like, she was the one, like, with riddles that she was posing to Nicholas to possibly fool Capernaum. But at the end of the day, like, and she, granted, she was the one that came up with the question that removed the stakes. Yeah. Like, I am not saying that Rachel was not helpful, but I think her being sidelined was okay for this arc because A, she still comes in clutch. B, it also gives Jason his chance to prove that he's not stupid.
Yeah.
Like, he takes the precautions that he needs to when he comes to sleeping under his bed and getting himself integrated into Transcore society, and he actually comes up with the question that gets him the chancellorship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the kid did really well for himself.
He gets the dub, you know? I mean, he shows that he actually can do well under pressure, despite
even
what
if he still
may have
can't
thought
stay
in the
awake.
past. Stay awake, yeah. But he doesn't get assassinated.
I was like, yeah. But I do like that you referred back to the fact that he can do well under pressure, because that is something that we mentioned. I didn't clock it. It took me a second. I got there.
It's okay. Yeah. He's showing himself that he can do well under pressure. Even though he was worried in, you know, his life before Lyrian that he couldn't. But, yeah.
Well, I mean, that was like the pressure of not winning a baseball game. Now it's the pressure of living.
The pressure, yeah. Losing a game, losing your life. A lot. There's actually a lot more pressure now.
Yeah.
But he's doing well.
It's like almost like the difference of like Percy Jackson, like his ADHD being a hindrance in the classroom, but being 100% a bonus when he's in a life or death like fight.
True.
But yeah. Is there anything else you want to address about this little trilogy of chapters?
Let me look at my notes really fast. Make sure I didn't miss anything.
Because I think for me personally, I'm about good. But if there's anything else you want to discuss, I am A-okay with that.
There's one part. So, the part where Jason mentions that he has an invitation to Hearthenham, and then Jason is, well, Farron is like, okay, well then are you gonna accept it, right? Like, you're gonna accept it, right?
Yeah.
And Jason's like, well, how do I know it's not like a prison, you know? No one ever leaves. How am I supposed to know that? And then this paragraph is what I want to focus on a little bit. Farron says, maybe, still, as prisons go, Hearthenham would be my pick 10 times out of 10. You're an interesting person, Jason. There's more to you than a glance would reveal. Who knows how long... Yeah, so, like, that part. You're an interesting person, Jason. There's more to you than a glance would reveal. I just think it's really interesting, because he's just like, I guess there's more to this kid than I even thought in the first place, which is interesting, so.
Yeah. I mean, all these people, they're used to a world without heroes. They're used to a world where people get an invitation to an endless feast where they don't have to carry anything. They're taking that 10 times out of 10, like Farron kind of said.
Like, literally every single person that's brought up Hearthenham has been like, oh, if only I could go, or oh, I would totally go there. It's like the best place ever. And Jason is like the first person to say, I don't know about that.
I was going to say, not the first person, because we know for a fact that there's one other person.
Well,
and
like,
that was
in the conversations. Not like chronologically, but you know.
Yeah. I did want to bring that up, though, because, like, that's one thing that Nicholas mentioned. Like, similar to Jason, Galaran was invited many times.
Yeah.
But, like, he mentioned before, like, that little description that he does, one of the words that he uses was incorruptible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he said it along with, like, all of his other, like, wonderful qualities. Like, we can imagine that there are many examples of people who maybe were similar to Galaran in their skill levels and their luck, I guess, but they were not as incorruptible as Galaran had been. It meant, like, Hearthenham would not be such a great thing if people didn't actually believe it and go to it.
Yeah.
It has been a successful play for Maldor for years at this point. And so the concept of finally having somebody who's willing to say no to this, it makes them more into second glance at this person.
Yeah. It shows the character of Galaran and the character of Jason, who is willing to also question it as well. But yeah, just wanted to point that out. Do you have anything?
No, that was it for me.
Well, everyone, I think that about does it for this episode of the Knights of the Dawn podcast. Thank you all for listening. We'll continue with our commentary of Beyonders, A World Without Heroes. And also, in an upcoming episode, we'll be giving our review on the new book, Guardians, the Forbidden Mountain. And we'll also talk a little bit in that episode about the launch party that we went to for that book. So you can be on the lookout for that. If you want to get in contact with us, you can email us at knightsofthedawnpodcast@gmail.com or drop a comment on our YouTube channel. We try to keep up with everything there. You can also follow our Instagram and TikTok pages at Knights of the Dawn Podcast as well. And yeah, we're keeping an eye out on all the news for the upcoming Fablehaven movie. So
a lot of interesting stuff.
Excited about that. I think right now, the last post that they said they were working on casting and getting all of that figured out. So exciting updates that they've actually
casted some people from the open auditions, which is super duper cool.
Yeah. So lots of exciting new stuff on the horizon for all of Brandon Mull's fans, as we all are here at Knights of the Dawn Podcast. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for this episode. So until next time, I'm Megan.
And I'm Jessica.
See ya.
Follow the music.